Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
Hi everyone, this is Ringside Rain and you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. And now, here is your host, Mark the Mark Martinez.
Welcome back to another episode of Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. As Ringside Rain said, I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. And this is coming out on Valentine's Day, so I hope everybody's having a lovely Flag Day, as R-Truth would say. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope everyone's with their love, enjoying yourself, whatever. So, how about this? Our Valentine's Day spotlight is with Romeo. Not Romeo and Juliet, but just the same, maybe? It is the Prince Romeo Reese from the Mirrorverse. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. We really need to dive into this, find out about the Mirrorverse, what Romeo Reese is up to, how he got involved in professional wrestling, and all that. You know how spotlights work. You know how I love to find out the who's, the whys, the whats, and everything, how they got involved in professional wrestling, because I don't do homework. I love hearing the stories, and I love sharing them with Can Crusher Nation and everybody that loves listening to the Spotlight. I do want to say thank you, guys. We don't say it enough. We might say it a lot, but I don't care. Thank you for all the support on Can Crushers. Without you guys, there's no Can Crushers. We record, we talk to wrestlers, we give our opinions and all of that on every show. It is just so awesome that you guys continue to listen. The numbers continue to grow. We're very transparent. We'll tell you everything. It's amazing. Thank you. This has been some of the greatest times of my life on Can Crushers, with all the hosts and everything that's always joined me. It's just meant a lot, along with promoters, referees, wrestlers, valets, authors that are in and around wrestling. That's what the meat and potatoes of Can Crushers is, to give everybody a spotlight. So thank you once again. And listen, we couldn't have done it without you. But of course, we need to talk to the Prince Romeo Reese about wrestling. And we have to do something else first. We have to pay the bills, right? Collar and Elbow, check it out. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and his hooligans have down there. Go and buy it up. There's tribute shirts. There's, still my favorite one, and I have it on right now, is my Al Snow and Head Macho Man inspired one. It's purple. It's got the sunglasses on it. There's Dusty Rhodes. There's just so many great wrestling shirts out from Collar and Elbow. Go and scoop them all up. You will not be disappointed from how they fit, how they wear, and all of that, because they're just amazing. Use our promo code CANCRUSHERS, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. You'll save 10% off your entire order. If you're looking for a new Rock shirt or a Cody shirt, LA Knight, Jade, whomever, and you know you're going to buy that shirt off of WWEshop.com, we have an affiliate code, guys. We do. It's in the show notes, and I post it up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter every once in a while, but it's always in the show notes. If you click on that, you might get a discount. You might not. Very transparent again. But if you know you're looking for one of those shirts and you love listening to Can Crushers and you click on our link, it does support us, and that's awesome. It really does. So check out our WWE Shop affiliate code. And don't forget that, listen, I've been living off of this stuff for 2 weeks now. I'm doing one drink in the morning. It's Dubby, D-U-B-B-Y. It is an amazing energy drink. You mix it at home with water. There's no calories, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors. I mean, it just does the right thing for you. You guys all know I'm a garbage man out there. I take a swig of this in the morning, and it keeps me up throughout the day. There's no crash or no jitters or anything like that. It is just a great drink. I've lived off of the canned ones and the carbonated ones before, and they've got you bloated, and they just have you blah. At some point in the day that you either need another one or you crash. W has not done that for me, and this is testimonial all the time when I talk about it. Guys, check out W, search it up, and then we have a promo code. It's the same thing as Can Crushers. You want to try it out, there's a sample pack that you can get. You'll save 10% off of that. Or if you want to dive right into the Beach and Peach, which is my favorite, make sure you check that out as well. A lot of other great flavors, but I'm telling you, testimonial right now, this stuff has worked, and it works amazing. If you're a gamer and you want to try it out, wrestlers for matches or anything like that, this is a great product. Really, really, really. Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter is where we're at. You can join conversations there, post some stuff, promote whatever you are. If you're a professional wrestler, that's awesome as well. Or if you want to be on the show yourself, reach out. cancrusher69@gmail.com. We'll get you set up. You can be on your own spotlight. Tell everybody about yourself, where you're at, what you plan to do, how you're going to take over the world, and just chat wrestling with me. We love those. Reach out to us. And you can listen. Finally, we're wrapping this up, folks. I'm trying. Where you can listen to us, pretty much anywhere podcasts are. Spotify, iTunes, IMDb, Alexa, Google Podcasts, yada, yada, yada. And don't forget about the one that I've been using as well for a while, Podurama. If you sign up right now, you get 50% off, so that's cool. It's a lifetime membership, 50% off. Seamless between phones and laptops and computers and all of that. It's really a cool app for all your podcasts. Instead of some aren't here, some aren't there, they're all there, and it's really cool. All right, guys, here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow, as I didn't, but, Al wants to pay the bills too. And then we'll dive on in with the Prince, Romeo Reese.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is Shalonce Royale. And if you're not listening to Can Crushers, what are you doing? You need to listen. You have to listen.
Welcome back to Can Crushers, folks. You heard how excited I was in the intro to talk to somebody that wants to punch Malik Mayfield in the face, as I do most of the time. It is the Prince, Romeo Reese. Romeo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Actually just got out the Mirrorverse to talk to you. And, I want to tell the podcast about myself a little bit.
And that's why we're here. I'm excited to hear everything about you. Let's talk about the Mirrorverse, because I don't do my due diligence anymore, because I love the stories right from, independent wrestlers' mouths and stories and everything. Tell me about the Mirrorverse. Tell me all about that, because it has intrigued me, the little bit of, research I've done.
Okay. So about the Mirrorverse, I'm trapped inside of it. I only can come in and out. Other people that want to join, it's not as easy as it is for me to go inside my Mirrorverse. I'm all about myself. And in that Mirrorverse, all I see is nothing but beauty of ins and out of myself.
I want in. I definitely I got to figure out how to get in because I'd love to only see the beauty of myself because I see the hatred of myself sometimes. I see the badness. It sounds like a great place to be.
Agreed.
But are you trapped in there alone right now? Like, do you need a Juliet, so to speak?
So, unfortunately, my Juliet is inside there, and there's many of them inside there.
You just
Many
need to
of
get
them.
some out, then.
Agreed. And that's why every time I go to a wrestling show, I look for one that I can take inside the Mirrorverse.
All right. All right. I hope you have, it's a harem inside of there. I hope it's amazing. What can I do to get in there? Maybe this is a conversation for off air because you don't want to leak it out to everybody, but I need to pick your head off air to find out how I can get in there. Not to touch any of your beings or anything, but I like the whole concept. I love the whole concept, in fact.
So how you can get inside there is not really something I can tell. It's only something that you can feel. And that's why I'm looking for my Juliet, because she can feel it.
Okay. So it's a feeling, it's a headspace, it's just getting everything correct. How many mirrors do you have, by the way?
Man, I got too many, man. Like, I even got little duplicates you can actually buy at wrestling shows.
Oh, we'll talk about the merch. We'll talk about the merch later on because you got some swag ass merch, by the way.
Appreciate it.
All right, so let's do the whole rewind and find out, about the Little Prince, essentially. How did you discover professional wrestling as a little guy?
So I actually, my father, he's been wrestling for going on 8 years. He introduced me when I was 11 years old. The story was crazy how he introduced me into wrestling, though.
Do you have time? Do you want to tell it?
Yeah, we go ahead.
Yeah.
So, my father wrestles as a name Samedi. He's like a dark priest. He's like a voodoo character. But when I was 11, he told 4 of my brothers that it was a show down in Tulsa, Oklahoma named Compound Pro Wrestling, and he was making his debut. But he told us MVP was going to be there. So, we're all excited. MVP's been our, one we wanted to see when we was younger, And if we could see him in person in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who wouldn't want to go? So he drugged us to the show. We're sitting down. We're like, this don't look like, MVP would be wrestling in. But, he made it sound so good, like they paid MVP to come, And so we go to the show. We're waiting, we're watching all these matches. And then it was a battle royale. And we're watching it. And all I know, I seen like a dude come out with like face paint on. He had like a hat. He reminded me of Papa Shonda.
Okay.
And I was like, he took off the hat, and I'm just like, that's my dad. Like, what? So my brother, I'm like, that's my dad. And I was like, no way, And so ever since then, I told my dad, I was like, I want to be a wrestler. Because it looks so fun. It looks so,
That is, I love that story. I really do. Not to put it, but you watched WWE, any other wrestling prior to then, since you know
Correct.
who MVP is. Okay.
Correct.
But was this your first time going to some, like a match or anything?
It was my first time ever going to an indie show. I always been to like WWE house shows, when they came down here at the BOK Center and stuff like that. I just never seen an indie show, and that was my first time seeing an indie show.
In indie shows, this is why we do the podcast, Romeo. This is really why we do the podcast. Indie wrestling is such a different experience, such a different atmosphere that you're on top of the wrestlers. You get to chit chat with them or get autographs. You don't get that unless you have $20 million at WWE or AEW anymore. So it's such a family organization, essentially, right?
Correct.
So did you... There's so many questions running through my mind. Did you not know that your dad was a professional wrestler?
Nope, he hit it for, a year. So, like, every time he would leave, leave the house, he was going to training, and we never knew that he was training until he debuted.
So he just told you about, was that his first match then in the Battle Royal?
Yep, that was his debut.
That is crazy. And you didn't know he was there. He just told you guys essentially, hey, go to this wrestling show. MVP is going to be there. He didn't say he was going to be there, right?
Yep, and all he said, he was being a security guard. That's what his excuse was. He was a security, and he stepped in the back, and we never seen him again. But we didn't concern. We were so into the wrestling show, so we wasn't worried about where our dad was, and what he was doing.
I love your father because of that. I absolutely love that. Knowing that you guys would just take it and run and have... He did it so he had family there too, which was really cool. That's a great idea. I need to reach out to your dad. We'll finish your interview, but we need to reach out to your dad to have him on the show as well, right?
Yeah.
So when you were watching WWE growing up, MVP one of your favorites, and who else did you kind of trickle to as a young guy?
Man, it's too many. I mean, Randy Orton really was a guy that stood out. I liked his character, how he carried himself to the ring, how he told a story. It's like,
Okay.
who wouldn't want to see the Viper Randy Orton,
Yeah, I agree. Did you ever get to, when you went to WWE shows in OKC or anything, did you ever get to meet any of the stars from there?
Yes, I actually was in talks with EC3. I did a little seminar with him, and he actually liked how I worked, liked my style, liked my character. Who else did I meet? Jack Tallis.
Okay, nice.
I met him, and he was a cool guy. Rush Freeman, I actually met. He's from NWA, and I actually got to wrestle Ace Austin.
I saw that. That was one of the Rush and the Ace matches. Actually, were the two that I've kind of watched. I don't watch much, but I watch two when I make a comparison here in a second. But yeah. So, tell me a little bit about, growing up in sports, and because as watching professional wrestling, every kid that I've ever talked with wants to be one at some point. But there's baseball, there's football, there's basketball, there's yada, yada, yada. What other sports kind of held you for a little bit until you made that decision to be a wrestler?
So when I was younger, I used to do amateur wrestling, and that's how I have an amateur wrestling background, because I can do a lot of ground wrestling, holds, slams.
Makes perfect sense of why I picked one person on my comparison then. Okay, go ahead.
I used to do football, so my footwork is it came from, amateur wrestling and football. I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I never knew how to get into it.
Then pseudo dad comes in to help you out, right?
Yeah, but necessarily dad didn't help me out as I thought he would, because he would always tell me, when I told him I want to be a wrestler, he would tell me train first. And I'm like, what do I need to do, And so I just think he was really worried about me getting hurt, if anything,
I get that.
That's
having a 17-year-old that kind of likes doing random stuff. That's the dad in him. You want to push him to his dreams, but and you now, Romeo, as well, that in 2 seconds, life can change.
Correct.
So, go ahead.
On top of that, he was telling me to train first, and I went behind his back and, found training and reached out to people, talked to people after shows. And I finally got my foot in the training door. It wasn't the right foot, but it was the foot for me to be a security guard at the shows, learn about behind and out of the scenes. And after that, I got real good training that, helped me out, establish myself, and learn about character psychology,
So I usually ask the question, give me that aha moment when you found that when you knew that you were going to go to wrestling school, and then how did you pick it? But it sounds like it really was that first indie show, right?
Yep.
So you said maybe not the right foot. You did it. The way I'm sitting here thinking about it is, I think you did it a correct way. There's a couple correct ways to get into the professional wrestling. Maybe it was because of age or whatever that you couldn't jump right into training or anything like that. But you got the back scene stuff, which makes you more knowledgeable than some of the people at the PC for the WWE who are like college athletes that don't know what's going on backstage. When did you kind of start rolling around in the ring and stuff like that? And training stories are always fun too. So give me one of those.
So before I ever got to roll around the ring, it's a term, in professional wrestling, pay your dues.
Yep.
So I started off as a bell ringer before I was a kid jumping in the ring with my dad, after the shows and stuff like that. If they clear out the building, I'd get in the ring, but I didn't know what I was doing, But when it was time and I was ready and I was 18, able to get in the ring, I paid my dues. I was a bell ringer. I did entrance music for people. I helped set up the ring. I picked up people's merchandise, their gear. And then when it was that time, it was my time to shine.
Did you ever have that moment? Because we all, as fans, were like, oh man, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to do this. Did you ever have that moment in training where it was like, oh my God, I didn't know it was this hard?
Yeah, because it's totally different from me going to run outside, like run around the track and getting inside the ring and running the ropes. It's a whole totally different cardio.
It really is. And we have a lot of fans that listen all the time, and they're like, and I beat this to a dead horse. I really do, Romeo. Talk about hitting the ropes for the first time. You think they're just a big rubber band, and they just leave welts, right?
Correct.
They're not as spongy as everybody thinks.
Me first time hitting the ropes was man, it felt like I landed on, let me see, how could I put this? I feel like I landed on some ropes that was just really tight.
Yeah. Did your footwork go a little wonky? Because there is some spring in them, and if you don't know how to a la run the ropes, your feet can be all over the place.
Oh man, that right there, hitting the ropes for the first time, my feet going everywhere. It was like trying to catch my balance. So, like a bungee it was.
Yeah. What was the hardest thing? Because the athletics, I think, was pretty easy for you. You have the background of wrestling, you've played sports, you have the cardio. What was the hardest thing in training for you to get? Was it a move? Was it, maybe character development? Was it the whole psychology of it?
Psychology. Making sure, ring position, making sure I do moves in the right spots, instead of trying to hurt someone in the wrong spots, because it's a place where you want to slam somebody in the ring and not, into the ropes or anything,
Yeah. That's what it is. All right. So talk about your first match. You get your match, talk about the feelings the day, talk about the feelings right before the curtain, and then we all know that curtain's magical. Just give me that story.
So my first ever match was a battle royale. So that was my debut. It was January 30th, 2021. I remember it was at Core Professional Wrestling. I was under a character named Milo Lamont.
Yep.
And I made that character because I was like, I want to get reps. I want to know what I'm doing out there. So when I take this mask off, I know how to make the right facial expressions. I don't want to go out there looking stupid, not knowing how to make a good facial expression, showing how I feel when I punch somebody, So when that day of the show, I was nervous, like I didn't have a spot at all. I showed up, paid my dues, and I asked for a spot, and he was like, "Sure, why not?" And so we got everything ready. I got dressed. I painted my face under my mask, so my character was like a dark luchador.
Oh, nice.
And so I painted my face up, got dressed, and when it was about that time, I had nerves as in I had to keep using the restroom. Like it was it was
Sorry,
about
I'm
time for me
laughing. I
to,
get it.
you're good. It was the time where I was just gonna go out and I was like, man, I gotta go, I gotta go to the restroom, man. Kept going to the restroom, and it was finally that time, and I walked through the curtains, man, and it was just showtime. I was like, because I practiced it at home a lot in the mirror. I had little brothers I was, wrestling around with, and I practiced my entrance a lot, and so I come out with a mask over my actual mask, and I would drop down like in a squat position. I turn around, wait till that beat drop, turn around, stand up, look over my shoulder. I still do it still to this day. I throw my hood off my head and I turn around, look over my shoulder, then I pose with my mirror. But we'll get back into that later. But with my Lamont character, after that, I just looked and I stared at my opponents in the ring and I walked down slowly. And Bobby Lashley was one of my favorite wrestlers, and how he jumped in the ring, like jumped on the top of the apron, and paced back and forth and then got in. I did that because I was like, man, it looks nice, especially on video.
Yeah.
And I got in the ring, man, and I ran up to the first person I seen and started striking him. And the dude says, he gets hit a couple times and he grabs my head and he yells out loud, "Little green kid." And he headbutts me, man. And I'm like, man. After that, I took a beat, man.
And then it was over, right? See you later.
It was over after that. Yep.
Do you go back and watch that first match though? You're we're gonna round. You're about 4 years into professional wrestling. Do you watch that first match comparison to what you're doing now?
Yeah, because how I wrestled when I first started, it's more crispier than it was. So I wasn't crispy when I first started, but now if I have a match, I can crispy a lot of things up. My moves look impactful. They look like I'm destroying somebody.
They look phenomenal.
Appreciate that.
They really do. So this is my comparison. I'm going to give you 3 wrestlers who I kind of think wrestling. You beg, borrow, steal. You don't to make who you are, essentially. So these are the 3 wrestlers who I see in Romeo Reese. One, I just gave you one, AJ Styles, because your moves are phenomenal. I see some of your kicks like AJ's do, kind of like the move set. Number 2, Lio Rush, because as much as you're, into the mirror and everything, you're still so hype about it. So you're hype guy for me. And the third one, I saw the technical background that you had with your suplexes and everything. So it's Kurt Angle.
Okay.
With those 3, do I hit any that you think you compare yourself to, or who are your 3 essentially?
So you got AJ Styles, Lio Rush. You got those correct. The other one was Carmelo Hayes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I completely see it. You're right.
The arrogant, the flashiness, the style.
I get it. And I love it. I love all 3. I just
Correct.
saw some of the, yes.
I do too.
Yeah, some of the other stuff. So we kind of touched on who you are, essentially with, at the beginning of the show, the Mirrorverse and everything. But we want to pause from wrestling now and find out, what Romeo does on day offs. What do you do? Are you, and I'm throwing you this because I know this, are you a gamer? What else do you like to do when you don't have anything to do in professional wrestling?
Okay, so I'm just now finishing a year in barber school so I could be a professional barber.
Nice.
I finished actually this Friday. So
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thanks. Other than that, I am a gamer. I stream here and there. Right now, my goal is I just sold all my stuff. my goal right now is to restart and start from scratch. So the first thing I just got was my gaming chair. I ordered a L-shaped desk with it's nice. My second thing is to get a P5 and a PC, and then work towards the background on how it look. I'm trying to make it big in either, and if I can make it big on both, that's my goal. Because I want to be a wrestler, I want to be a barber, and I also want to be a gamer. So I have three goals that can all clash in together and make me something special.
Tons of money as well.
Right.
And I don't know I'm not slamming you for this because I don't know your barber skills. You have not cut my hair yet, but I will let you cut my hair at some point in my life. I've seen the gaming stuff, what you've done. I will watch now. I will continue to watch your wrestling. You're 2 for 3 in my book. When you post some, and I know if you post some stuff, but I have to have you do this mop on top of my head. Then we'll give you the attaboy for barber. But that's awesome because all of those can fit in a crazy lifestyle of professional wrestling.
Correct.
Because we see people in WWE that stream, we see people in AEW that stream, yada, yada, yada. All right, so 3 silly questions. And I think I was set up by Malik, and we'll get more into him.
This is Malik Mayfield, and my question is, if you could do a mask gimmick, what would the name be and what would the backstory be?
So I will be under a mask. I actually do Cinco de Mayo shows. I did my Milo Lamont character. So don't get me wrong, I will go back under a mask like off Lucha Underground and be like a Prince Puma or a Rey Mysterio under a mask and still show out.
Okay. Can we have a little bit of backstory about Milo? Like who is Milo?
Who is Milo? Milo is he was a character that everyone bullied around. And they bullied around so much, one day he popped out and showed out. And after that, everyone chanted in the crowd, Milo, Milo, Milo. And it got to a point where he was so over, the mask had to come off and they had to see who was really under the mask.
And it was you.
The Prince.
Romeo
Reese.
If you had the opportunity to spend a day with someone you didn't know, it could be somebody famous, but I don't want it to be anybody in wrestling, like one of your friends in wrestling or, family member or anything. Who would you want to spend the day with?
It would be, it's this clan that's going around on Twitter, YouTube. It's called the DF clan. And they're gamers, they play NBA 2K24, they play NBA 2K. And I always wanted to join their clan because, I grew up watching it. And it's this leader, his name is Power DF. And one day I was streaming and he joined my stream and, was like, didn't let the fame get to him,
Right.
And he wanted to run with me, and we went on like an 8-game win streak and we lost. And after that, man, we've been in connects, like we've been talking, and I just told him I want to join. So if it was a person for me to hang out with, it would be him. If he shows himself, I never seen what he looks like, but he has a bunch of clan members. So if I can't hang out with him because he don't want to show himself, I'll hang out with the clan members.
There you go. Speaking of joining people, past guest again, as he likes to stir the pot every once in a while. I'm speaking of Malik again, and we're going to get to Malik because I know you have something big coming up here in the near future. Malik says that you possibly wouldn't mind being in the CODA Brand. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct.
So you like running with them. You like their whole aura, right?
I like a few people in the aura.
Okay. Okay.
Speaking of one of them, Cappuccino Jones. We was former UWE Tag Team Champions. We just got back from Springdale 2 weeks ago for going for the Diamond State Tag Team Champions. And man, we worked good together.
But it's Cappuccino that you like. You don't like Malik, right?
Nah.
Nah.
I didn't like him when he had an input on why I could join the CODA Brand.
So I'll fast forward. I do have like 2 more silly questions, but I'll fast forward. You have a match against Malik coming up. Is that correct?
Right.
And you're just ready to show him why you should join? Or are you like, I'm going to beat your ass and then you'll want me to join?
Let's put it like this. I'm going to show him, don't ever doubt the Prince Romeo Reese and why you want the Prince Romeo Reese and the CODA Brand.
That's enough said. Yeah.
I'm going to beat his tail. And on top of that, I'm going to show you, don't ever underestimate the Prince Romeo Reese.
Yeah. He should be begging you now, first and foremost, because you have been a champion everywhere you've went. The list of titles that you have on your resume for the 4 years in professional wrestling is
Right.
unbelievable. You could take over the CODA, is what I'm saying.
I could take over the CODA, or I can build the CODA where they can be something big that they never have been.
Agreed.
And if they see how me and Cappuccino Jones work together, what can we say as a trio working together? Or as a four-way working together, you know?
Yeah.
Or as a group.
What would the CODA mean for you to be in it?
It would mean like a brotherhood to me. Like, you know, we always got each other back. Ride or dies, you know? One person trying to make it, we all trying to make it.
I like that. I really do. Because I'm begging now. Because we had Cam on a couple weeks ago, Malik last week, you, and I really support the CODA. I really want to be a member of somehow to join the CODA, because you don't get that a lot in wrestling, independent wrestling. Hell, sometimes you don't get it in life to have people like you, yins, all of you, that just want to support, because you said you could show them what they've been missing, or you could show them how you in the group would just excel the group to the next level, essentially, right?
Not even that. I could show them or tell them that they could be missing a piece in their group, and I could be the missing puzzle.
Touche. I love how you spun that. Yes. I'm waving your flag to get you in that group. I really am. What superpower do you wish you had, but you could only use it once a year?
Time travel.
Okay.
If I could go back into time and fix something once a year, I would love to do it.
I like that. And I love that you gave me the answer why. I really do. Because we all have, this is a dad moment all of a sudden because it just came rushing in. We all have that one thing each year that we look back on and say, damn, I wish I would have done that differently.
Right.
I like that. What is the title of the movie that they're going to make about you?
Title of a movie?
Yeah, that they're going to make about the Prince, Romeo Reese.
The Mirrorverse. I have not seen a movie out called that, I don't think.
I haven't either. And it makes perfect sense. It really does. It explains everything. You get to your whole story. Not really a documentary is not what I'm going with, but you're just going to, yeah.
If I had a documentary about myself, it would be from my childhood days to who I am now.
Who would play you in the movie? You're not allowed playing yourself in the documentary. The movie, The Mirrorverse, you're going to be star. You're going to be the man in it. But now somebody's going to make a documentary about you. Who do you want to play you?
Who do I want to play me? I want somebody to be in my shoes that never been in my shoes. So I would put it as this: as a person that never had to struggle in life before, I want them to be in my shoes and struggle, and let me be in their shoes and not having to struggle, and see how they feel, and see do they ever want to be in my shoes.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I do. I do. What's the best advice that you've gotten from like behind the curtain? Maybe it was from dad once you were in the business more, or Ace or Rush or somebody. What was the best thing that still, boom, pops right into your head?
No matter what you do when you hit those curtains, give it your all, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah. We kind of tell our guys that too, because you don't know who's in the crowd. You don't know who paid the money to sit there. We just sell the tickets online. It could be a scout that, oh my God, this, that, or the other. But it also means it for the fans too, because it might be their first show. That first indie show. I'm going to revert it right back to your story. Look at how wrestling sunk its teeth into you. And look at what you're doing now. That could be that little 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old sitting in the ring, and then boom.
You're absolutely right.
Do you look back on yourself, from that show and say, holy hell, I made it?
Yeah, because my dad tells me all the time. He calls me and tells me, man, out of the 8 years of my career and you only been in it for 4, you accomplished more than I ever have. It makes me feel good, but at the same time, I can see the jealousy and I can feel the jealousy.
I was just going to ask that. Does your dad have a jealous bone, or is he's taking it as, a pat on his back as well, because he got essentially his boy into the business?
He tried to tell me it was my character.
Okay.
That got me to where I am now. And I said it's not my character. It's the hard work and dedication that I put in, the sweat, the tears, the sacrifices.
You understand the business. You understand, and I'm not throwing shade at your dad. You understand what needs to happen for you to get to that next level, to be NXT, AEW, WWE, or whatever, right? You understand that.
Agreed.
So this is the toughest question that I ask on the show all the time. Wrestling changes for the good or the bad. Sometimes there's stigmas around it. There's this around it. What would you like to see erased from professional wrestling?
Positive energy, honestly. I want people to lift you up. I love the critiques. I love them. I want hard critiques. If I went out there and had a match and it was a legend superstar watching me, and I want him to tell me honestly what he think about me, instead of me coming through the curtain having a bad match and saying, hey, that was a good match, man, keep it up. I want him to tell me, man, that was a bad match, man. You need to go get back in training. You need to figure out what the key points is in a match, instead of going out there doing all the moves, doing all the etc. When all you're doing out there is going out there to do is please the fans, showing them what they paid to come to see. Give them a story, make them want to come back, make them invested. Don't have them coming to a show and seeing a spot fest.
I got two things out of that. I got storytelling out of that, and I got, because you brought up like a legend saying something to you, sugarcoating, essentially, because sugarcoating is not going to help anybody on any roster across America or anywhere else, essentially. If you come through and you know in your heart that the match sucked and it was just horseshit, and he's like, hey kid, that was great, man, that's gonna hurt for that split minute. You're gonna be like, oh my god, Legend X just said I had a great match. In my heart, I felt bad. You're gonna take that and run. You're like, yeah, Legend X said it was great. but we're out there sitting on our hands as fans going, what the hell was that?
Agreed.
So I like that you essentially gave me two in your one answer. I really like that, because storytelling to you seems like, listen, your character, Romeo Reese, tells a story each and every time he comes out of that curtain. So storytelling is very important to you, right? It's not about spots.
Right.
Okay. Good.
And you said you watched some of my matches. Majority of my matches, you don't see me doing a lot of moves.
No.
I have 3 big moves that I do every single match, just so somebody that never been to a show or somebody that repeatedly come to a show knows what's coming, you know?
Right.
And I want them to remember that and brain pick that. Because I don't want a fan coming to a show paying what? $10 to $20 for a show, and they be invested more in their phone instead of invested in me. Or invested in other people that surrounded them.
Because those spot fests can put me, as a 46-year-old man, those spot fests can put me instantly on my phone, like you just said. I love the guy. I think he's amazingly athletic. I cannot watch a Ricochet match because of that reason.
Right.
I don't need to see him do 17 cartwheels to get to an elbow in the corner. It just doesn't make sense, right?
Don't get me wrong, he's a good wrestler.
Oh, I agree. He's amazing. I just think he needs to trim some of the fat off of it. And I'm not saying he's fat before I get hate for that, but I think he just needs to trim some of the details of the storytelling. So don't throw shade at Romeo either. He didn't say it, Mark did. If your wrestling career, and I said a while back that you have a litany of titles that you've held and hold and yada, yada, yada. If your wrestling career would come to an end right now, would you feel accomplished for what you did?
Yes and no at the same time, because wrestling is always going to be there. If I was to stop wrestling now, I could come back anytime because I set a name for myself. I have the matches that people would like. I have the character, and I have the arrogance of being a star one of these days. If not in 2024, not 2025, not 2026. Hey, maybe my year might be 2030. But one day out of the life that I'm living right now in 2024, I will be a star.
I am one for breaks in professional wrestling. I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you feel, with your resume, essentially, we're going to say you're going to take off, and he's not, all right, he's not. You're going to take off, March till August of this year because you need a break. Your body, this, that, or the other, mental or physical, just needs a break. Are you okay with breaks in professional wrestling? Should there be an off season, essentially?
I agree with breaks because people in wrestling and outside of wrestling need to know family comes first before wrestling. You want to make sure your family is happy.
Thank you.
I have a 1-year-old child right now. I'm actually going to be 22 next week, so Sunday. I'll be 22.
Yeah, so you're a baby in wrestling, and I don't mean it mean, but you're a baby in wrestling.
I'm fresh.
Yeah. You're the Fresh Prince. Oh my God, that just stepped out to my head. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, I have a 1-year-old, and I don't mind taking a break for them if they need me at home, and if I'm always on the road, because, a 1-year-old is not going to be able to sit still in a car for 8 to 9 hours, for me to just go wrestle for 10 to 20 minutes and then get back on the road for the whole another 8 hours, So I feel the need, if I was told I need to stop for a few months to a year, I will do it. But at what cost? I mean, I might lose, opportunities and stuff like that. But like I said, opportunities will always be there if you put in the hard work and dedication. Yet, if you take a break from wrestling, you can still go to training so you won't be rusty when you come back.
Right.
And if I were to ever take a break, 6 months to a year, I'm going to always be in training. Even if I got to go one day out of the week to training, I will always be in there just so I can get my reps. And if I go in that one day, I'm going to make sure I put in the work that can cover 2 days.
Yeah. You stole my thunder. I was going to say something's better than nothing, but yours is better. 1 day to prove for 2 days is a hell of a lot better. What's your goals for 2024? Like, Rome wasn't built in a year, Romeo. I understand lifetime goal, be WWE, whatever organization signs you, picks you, you want to go to. I understand that. Real goals of 2024. What do you want to knock off? More states, a dark match, something like that?
My goals are to make sure my family is happy. I'm actually expecting another baby here in the end of July or the beginning of August. It's a little girl. So I have a boy and a girl right now.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Appreciate that. My goal is to make sure they're happy and hopefully get a dark match, not even a dark match, get signed. And not even getting signed wrestling on a major platform that can and can get me signed. And I do want to travel more states. That's the only way I'm going to get looked at. And I have been doing that. I actually think I have 1 or 2 more debuts this year.
As of now, there's going to be many more debuts.
Right.
Are you, and I might know the answer to this, and I'm going to pat you on the back if you say no. Are you willing to go to, say, England for 90 days, Canada 90 days? You know, are you willing to make that big sacrifice to travel overseas or whatever if the opportunity comes?
I'm willing to do that if the money's good, you know?
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that because what I have to explain to my family of me being gone for 90 days to 60 days is I can see this amount of money for me being gone, and I can, you know, talk to you guys, and, you know, I'm actually accomplishing something while I'm gone instead of wasting my time.
Right. I'm going to say this. Go ahead.
I'm not proving something for myself anymore. I have a family I have to prove as well.
You took the words out of my mouth. Again, it's like we're connected. Yes.
Right. So my lady wants me to not waste my time in wrestling, not get hurt unless I'm actually trying to go above and beyond.
And that's what it should be. That's what it should be to get to that next crop. Yeah.
And so, like, in Oklahoma, I don't do matches like getting slammed on thumbtacks, death matches. I don't do matches like that because if I'm not making enough money that can cover my hospital bill, why do it, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. Romeo, I love that you're family first. You understand the wrestling business, but you understand life. That without family, there's sometimes nothing, right?
Right.
Although, we'll spin it back to wrestling for a couple more questions. What is your dream match? Who, where, and what stipulation?
Man, I did one of my dream matches last year, Ace Austin, man. I looked up to that dude, man. My other dream match, man, LA Knight, dog.
Oh, you threw me for a loop. I thought you were going to say Carmelo.
That's one of them, but, you know, he probably has more swagger than me because, you know.
Well, the Battle of the Swagger would definitely be amazing then.
Yeah, it will. But Battle of the LA Knight chant and the Romeo Reese chant.
Yeah. What kind of match? What stipulation of the match and where as well?
With LA Knight, man, I'll have an I Quit match.
Okay.
I Quit match, and we can be in a Madison Square Garden.
Good. I'm for a while I was telling everybody to stop picking Madison Square Garden, but I just know what it means to wrestlers to at least have one match there in your career, right? It would just mean the world.
Yeah, especially in the state they'll be in, you know, and how many ticket sales can go out.
Yeah. The amount of cash in your pocket.
Right.
That's number one. Let's not forget that.
Right.
So you brought up that you had one of your dream matches in Ace. Is that, and I know titles are titles. Is that your biggest accomplishment? Because like we said, you got Rush as well in your back pocket that you had a match against.
My biggest accomplishment was Ace Austin, because when I wrestled him, I asked him about a critique about myself, and he really did not have nothing to say. And it was just like, he's on a major television TV,
Yeah.
and it's like, if he had said didn't have nothing to say, man, what do other people have to say? Because I wrestled in front of a WWE legend, Tatanka, and dude, he didn't have nothing to say. He said he liked the way I carried myself to the ring, how I wrestled. I wrestled in front of D'Lo Brown, and pretty much didn't have nothing to say. Just make it more, make the crowd more invested. He don't want to, he don't want it to be boring. Don't never turn your back on your opponent. Rush Freeman, dude, he really didn't have much to say either. Just told me to get out of Oklahoma.
Those are all
Said other
great.
people
Those are
need to
all
see.
great people to have in your back pocket, by the way.
Right. EC3 as well. Travel more,
Yeah. Build up that resume of
Yeah.
states, pseudo fans, and organizations that can vouch for you.
Because I have the character that people looks for,
Yeah. You really
Okay.
do.
Right. And this is I look at it as this. If I showed up to a show and they needed an extra person, and I'll have my gear, and they was like, hey, can you be a heel or can you be a face? And I can do anything. What do you need me to do? What do you want out of me? And go out there and tell a story. Okay, I'm the heel, right? Okay, I'm gonna go out there mad about what happened to me in my personal life and use it in my facial expressions and take it out on the crowd and on my opponent,
Right.
and how I can feel and relieve the pain and the stress off my body. I can put it all in my character, and it's magic.
It really is. It really is. You feel something special when you walk through that curtain and you resonate that to the fans right off the bat. I got it through YouTube when I was watching it. I'm like, holy shit, this guy does something instead of just walks out. And that
Right.
made me, I'm like, okay, I need to be more invested. I need to watch what the hell he's doing. You got it. You really do. So.
And I just feel like I need to do what I do best in front of the right people, so they can see if I have what it takes to go above and beyond.
Right. It's maybe travel, head to Kentucky. OVW's right there. Al Snow gives a ton of opportunities. Head to, some more Texas or this and that. And it really is just spreading your wings and fly, essentially.
And what's crazy is, with my barbering that I do, I cut hair. I take my clippers every show I go to, because there's always somebody that needs a haircut.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I really went to barber school, is because I want to be a barber. I want to take my barber behind the scenes. Because just imagine if I went to a pay-per-view and the barber couldn't make it on the flight, but I was there, and I had my barber stuff. I could cut that person's hair, and it could be a WWE superstar. It could be an AEW superstar. It could be, a celebrity. It could be anybody. And that was my opportunity to show them what I do best. Not only cut hair, not only game, I can wrestle too.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you this a long time ago. Then I really will give you your time to give socials and all that stuff. How much wrestling do you watch now? Do you, with a family, I know it's tough, but do you spend the 40 hours a week that wrestling's on and kind of dive into them, or are you a clip watcher?
And I watch I don't watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and NXT live. I watch the clips. But pay-per-views I do watch. I have my own Peacock account, so I do watch the pay-per-views. AEW pay-per-views I sometimes tend to Nintendo's, New Japan, NXT pay-per-views. I just watched the one NXT, and I like the fact that Carmelo Hayes built up the storyline with Trick Williams as they was best friends, and then he just stabbed him in the back because he don't need him. Trick Williams got made a star off Carmelo Hayes. Now Carmelo Hayes is gonna make them hate him as a star off Trick Williams.
Yeah, I went ape shit, by the way, when that happened. I absolutely loved it. I really
The whole
did.
crowd, they wanted to kill Carmelo Hayes after that, and he built it up so good when he stabbed him in the back. The hate just instantly raised hell.
Yeah, that was white heat. It really was. Like, I probably needed escorted out because there was people looking to come over the barricade. I'm like, wow, he just did it.
And his exact words walking out, y'all made me do it.
Yeah.
Y'all made me do it.
All right, this is your time. Give everybody your social so they can give you a follow, where you're going to be, how you're going to punch Malik in the face, and do you have any merch?
So I don't have any merch online. You can only get it in person. Eventually, I'm going to start making my own t-shirts to put online, and I will be shipping out. But my socials are Romeo Reese on everything. You can look me up on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Romeo Reese. If y'all want to give me a follow, go ahead, give me a follow and be invested into the Prince Romeo Reese era. February 10th, I will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The address on that is 5400 West Charles Page Boulevard. I'm going to be wrestling Malik Mayfield. And I told him one thing: do not show up if you're not going to be the cheer captain. Do not come in wasting my time as wanting to be the moment. I want you to bring those pom-poms and be the cheer captain. Because I need to go against the cheer captain. And the Prince Romeo Reese is always looking for a challenge. And I seen you at your best as a cheer captain. I didn't see you at your best as the moment. So I told you one thing is to bring those pom-poms and the cheer captain.
Romeo.
And on top of that, the show is called Heart of Champion. It's going to be some hard-hitting action. It starts at 6:30. Doors open at 5:30. So go ahead, show up, bring your families, nieces, nephews, kids, grandparents. You don't want them to miss out.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the clip from either one of you of that. Clearly can't make it to Oklahoma this weekend or anything, but I know somebody will send me the clip of the match and everything. I can't wait to see it. Romeo, this has been a blast. Thank you for coming on and gracing us with your princeship and giving me some hints how to maybe get into the Mirrorverse. Did I forget anything that you wanted to chat about?
Oh, I have me and Malik had a deal. It was on the CODA Brand vlog. Me and Malik was gonna have a match, and we shook hands on this. If I beat Malik, I get to join the CODA Brand. If he beats me, I don't get to join the CODA Brand. So I guess we'll have to see February 10th what happens from there.
Hi, this is the show pony Reese Ramon, and I absolutely love the Can Crushers podcast, and you can even listen to it on Spotify.
Great little shout out there from Reese Ramon. But wait, we talked to Romeo Reese. Yeah, imagine Mark planning to put all that together in his head. Nonetheless, how about that interview? Yeah, you guys know, pre-recorded. Match already happened. We will be posting that match here in the near future once everything gets edited together and everything. So we'll be able to see who won between Romeo and Malik. So more on that, as we always tease. But how about the Mirrorverse? I don't think Romeo is going to let me in the Mirrorverse. I know he said it's within yourself, but coming all back to that, I don't know if he's like really, hey Mark, you're one definitely to be in. Wanting to be in the CODA Brand? Man, I really do. This CODA Brand, that's another thing I want to be part of. Like, the CODA really has me right now. They really, everything they stand for, what they do, and just the support they do with yourselves and others, it means a lot to me in and around wrestling and in and around, normal lives, as we like to call them. It's great to have a support system like that. It really is. I have a wonderful support system, but you can continue to grow those and all of that. Great interview once again. More CODA coming up next week here on Can Crushers. It's kind of taken over all of February, but that's all right. It's pretty cool. I love hearing their different stories and all of that. So, guys, keep listening. Keep supporting us. Don't forget those WWE affiliate codes. And check out our merch as well, also tagged in the show notes, along with W. Buy it. Keep energized. Keep pushing away. And be you. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. And as always, make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. Because you never know.